Welcome to the Midwest Blitz. It's college football comfort food for the Midwest soul. Now, here are your hosts, Coach Drew and Big Nick.
Welcome to another edition of the Midwest Blitz. Yeah, yup.
Yeah, yup.
Well, looks like we're in week 4, guys, and this is the preview show. We're looking to get into week 4, and I would say this. It's about to get real. If it hasn't got real already, there's been some upsets. You know, Nick has some upsets as far as reffing some football that he wants to share with us to get us started. You want to go ahead and talk to us about some of these upsets you've seen?
Well, Drew, since you asked, why talk about the two biggest Big Ten games of the year so far when we can talk about my night? So I reffed football tonight at the Indiana School for the Deaf, and the deaf team, the Deaf Hoosiers of Indiana School for the Deaf, played really well. And once they were beating the other team soundly, the other team complained that the deaf school kids were not stopping on the whistle. At which point their coach had to remind the opposing team coach that, and he pointed, they're deaf, they can't hear it. So Drew asked me how my night was before we started. I wanted to share that with you. I mean, you want to talk about people that ruin youth and amateur sports. I mean, there are some absolute clueless dumbasses out there, and I met some of them tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And didn't you reference some celebrities this week, too?
I met Ref Rob, who you guys might have seen. I think he reffed the Indiana, or sorry, not the Indiana. He reffed the Celebrity All-Star Game when the NBA All-Star Game was in Indianapolis last year, I think. But he's kind of internet famous if you've ever seen him. He's a local college basketball ref. I reffed football with him the other night, but good dude, fun time. Always fun to work with high-level officials that have a lot of knowledge. So shout out to Ref Rob.
Ref Rob.
What else you got, Drew? What have you been up to?
You know, I just been coaching. I had school today. I had chess practice, and I had to coach baseball, and I'm to the Midwest Blitz. That's a Wednesday for Coach Drew. You know, stack, and go. You know, that's about how my day went.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Yeah, and then Thursday comes, Friday comes, and then we just became very huge.
Bigly.
We can now go on TikTok Live. You might see us TikTok Live on Saturday because we will be in Central Indiana for the Indiana versus Illinois game.
That is the biggest
Midwest
Big Ten
Blitz.
matchup of the year. That along with Michigan, Nebraska this weekend.
Could be the biggest.
The most beautiful. Yeah.
Maybe we need to bring Shane Gillis on here as do his Trump impersonations. That'd be awesome. He's a Notre Dame fan too as well.
It was a rough week. This was the week where I didn't want to do the Trump impersonation, not because of anything Trump did, but just because of other things that I'm not going to bring up.
But what we can bring up, though, is Friday Night Football as Iowa travels to Rutgers. Nick, go ahead. We were talking about this, and there are some funny things that we can bet on here. What's that funny thing, Nick?
Iowa is given 3 points at Rutgers. I think this is going to be an interesting game. Well, it's not going to be interesting if you want to see a lot of points scored, but it's interesting for me because I've been following these teams and scouting them since late July. I think Rutgers could win this game. Now, Iowa's got the juggernaut defense, and, you know, it doesn't seem to come up for them in the Cyclone matchup for the Cy-Hawk Trophy the last couple of years, but they're going to give Rutgers a hard time. I do think that Rutgers' quarterback is capable of making some big plays in this game and keeping around late into the game. Gosh, over under 46.5, Coach Drew. I want to hit the under on this so hard. What do you think?
We got a pile in the under here. Iowa, who brought in a transfer quarterback who had over damn near 10,000 yards passing. They have the 127th passing offense. Now, for many of you that don't know, there's about 135 D1 schools that they registered. Iowa has 120. They're also a Big Ten school. This is lower than a lot of other schools. Now, some might say that Iowa has played some hard opponents, but just to put in perspective, Notre Dame has played to the top 2 hardest games to start the season, and they have a way better offense and passing offense than Iowa. I mean, again, thank goodness Gus Johnson did not say jitterbug that game against the Cy-Hawks because, again, he would have jitterbugged the whole game from start of the kickoff to end of kickoff when they went 12 in a row. I mean, it's bad when you're back there and you're like, I'm going to flip a coin. No, we're not. We're just going to go with run because it's so predictable.
Hey, Drew, can we get back to the over-under 46.5 bet here? I'm trying to wager some money here. Do you have a thought either way on this, or do I just need to pull a trigger on it?
Yeah, pull the trigger.
I'm going under 46.5. This gives you something to do Friday night. I'm betting it right now. Just put it in the bank. This is not going to be a high-scoring game. I do think, though, Rutgers' offense and their quarterback, Ethan Kaliakiamis, which I just mispronounced, are good enough to generate some offense against a really tough Iowa defense. But I got the under 46.5. This is going to be a close game in the birthplace of college football, Piscataway, New Jersey. What we got next, Coach Drew?
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be heading over to the Texas Tech Raiders to play Utah in what should be a noon kickoff for our cousins at the Big 12. Want to start this one off, Nick?
Big 12 isn't quite Midwest. It's almost Midwest. It's Midwest adjacent. And yes, I will start this off. I love the Utah Utes. We've covered them earlier in the year. Utah's new look offense with Devin Dampier, the transfer portal quarterback, has been fun to watch. This kid can sling it. He can sling it on the run, and he can just run with it if you give him the opportunity. I'm really also looking forward to watching Texas Tech's quarterback Baron Morton play. I haven't seen him play live yet, but he is some people's dark horse pick for the Heisman, or at least to be a Heisman finalist. So this is going to be a fun quarterback matchup on both sides of the ball. Now, I want to tell you this. Texas Tech's defense has been absolutely stifling, completely dominant against the run. They only allowed 8 net yards rushing against Oregon State. Now, look, I know that Oregon State's been kind of a weak beaver this season. I understand that. But still, allowing 8 yards rushing against a high school team would be pretty good. So Texas Tech's defense is formidable. Their passing defense hasn't been quite as good, which might allow Dampier some wiggle room to get some stuff done. This has big-time implications for Big 12 standings. And this kind of reminds us of Farmageddon from week 1. We've got, half the teams in the Big 12 have a chance to win the conference because it's so even and so competitive. You got a lot of quality teams. We got number 17 versus number 16. This is a fun one to watch. I will definitely have this on one of the TVs in my living room Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another game that's probably going to be covered by Gus Johnson, and I don't think he's going to be saying a lot of jitterbugging. We got Texas Tech, who's going to air raid the ball and throw it around. And we also have Utah, who's going to throw the ball too as well. One of the fun facts about Utah is Dampier has not thrown an interception yet. He has 0 interceptions on the season. So one of the prop bets or some things they're tracking is this going to be the first time he throws an interception? We also see that Texas Tech's passing yards and points for is one of the top in the nation. And a lot of the simulations early into the season of college football on NCAA, we have Texas Tech going to the college football playoffs. Utah is being spotted -3.5. So Texas Tech is not favored to win this on the spread. Guys, this is where it starts getting muddy. You got Morton. Is he going to sling that thing against Utah? This is what, in comparison to the Cyhawk, you hear about these Big 12. Big 12 is throw, Big 10 is run. I'll repeat that. Big 12 is throw, Big 10 is run. So you're going to see a lot of passing, a lot of yards. I think for sure anytime these teams play each other, always look at the over. If you see a couple early scores, live bet. The over-under on this game is 57.5. It's pretty high. But again, if you see 2 quick scores in the first 4 minutes, you got to go to the live bets and see if that line changed.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a shootout. Texas Tech Raiders with a shootout, and Utah, the non-Mormons.
I think that's a good call on looking at the over-under on a live bet, because I looked at this point spread. I really like this Utah team. Like I said, we've talked about them earlier in the year. I don't think Texas Tech has played enough competition to really have an accurate gauge on how to bet this from a point spread perspective. But in terms of stylistically, yeah, there is a possibility for a lot of points to be scored here, especially based on strengths and weaknesses of the respective defenses.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to cover the Oregon State versus Oregon? You had some interesting takes there.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So the Oregon Ducks hosts the aforementioned Oregon State Beavers. So the Beavers on the road are getting 35.5 points. I have not bet this yet, but I am definitely thinking about it. I think with Oregon State's lack of any run game, not that their passing game has been great either, their ability to sustain drives in this game is going to be nil, almost nothing. Oregon is going to play offense in this game almost the whole game. This is the rivalry known as the Civil War in Oregon, which is interesting since neither this wasn't a state during the actual Civil War. I always think that's kind of funny, but it's a cool nickname regardless. Oregon is basically going to be running an offense versus defense scrimmage this whole game. I think Oregon could score 80 if they wanted to. And I'm being generous. I'm considering Oregon minus 35.5. I'm going to look into it a little bit more, but if you're looking to throw a little cheese on the line this weekend, think about it. If Oregon's on offense the whole game, they're going to punch it in more than a few times. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Oregon does not lose this game. I don't think it's going to be close. Oregon hasn't lost a game dating back to the last regular season, right? We're not talking about the playoffs, but the regular season. This Oregon team is again ready to go and ready to run the Big Ten in its second year. Is it the second year Oregon's in here?
That's correct.
Yeah, so they're ready to run it again. Well, I also have another interesting game. This one is now with the SEC, which we don't like talking about, but there's a top 25 matchup, so we're going to talk about it. We have 22 Auburn playing at Oklahoma, number 11. This is going to be at 2:30 p.m. Central Time, 3:30 Eastern Time, ABC. Oklahoma is minus 6.5. Auburn is plus 6.5. This is interesting. Mater, the Oklahoma, I don't know why I butchered that. Oklahoma's quarterback has only thrown 5 touchdowns. Now, we're talking about a guy who has 944 yards through the air, right? The math isn't math, and he almost doubles the field twice before he gets 1 touchdown, if you guys are doing quick math at home. This is very interesting. They're playing an Auburn team that's trying to be the best team in Alabama. You heard it here first, the best team in Alabama. There is a weak duck in Alabama, and that is Alabama. How about that? Alabama's weak duck is Alabama. I mean, we're going to see a game when Auburn plays Alabama. That's going to be a huge game.
The Iron Bowl.
The Iron Bowl. So Auburn is going to attack this Oklahoma defense, which is one of the best in the nation, with a balanced attack through the air and through the air and through the ground. They're going to try to attack them that way. This game for Auburn is a prove it game. Again, I don't know if they're going to win this game, but if Auburn can upset Oklahoma at Oklahoma, that would be nuts. This is a game I definitely will have on at 2:30 p.m. How about you, Nick? Yeah, I got to have it on?
Gosh, it's going to be in the rotation. I might have the one TV that's got 4 games going on at the same time on the ESPN app, I think has that. Yeah, I mean, nothing against Auburn. I think it's tough to run offense at Oklahoma, and Mateer he's pretty tough at quarterback. They got a good vibe going on at Oklahoma.
All right. Well, I guess we can go to one of our games that we previewed earlier in the season that we really wanted to talk about. That's no more than Michigan going to Nebraska. This game is also being played at 2:30. This game to me makes me laugh because one person is undefeated in the college football and one person's defeated in the NFL. Is the NFL quarterback going to need some spare parts? We're no longer talking about Boba Fett and Jango Fett, the bounty hunters. Go ahead, Nick. What's your take?
Drew back to his Raiola being a clone of Patrick Mahomes comparison, which is canon here on the Midwest Blitz. If you can't accept that, you probably can't rock with us because it's part of the show at this point. So this is a game that we circled on our calendar before the season even started. This is 2 teams that have a lot of playoff hype and legitimate playoff hopes as the season has begun. So let's look at Michigan's offense against Nebraska's defense real quick. Michigan has run the ball well, even at Oklahoma in a loss. Underwood had a tough game passing at Oklahoma. I think he went 9 of 24. It was his first road start as a freshman. We're not picking on Bryce Underwood. We're stating facts. Nebraska gave up 200 yards rushing in their only game against another Power 4 team this season when they played Cincinnati, their opening night at Arrowhead Stadium, actually. So 200 yards rushing. Out of that, a significant amount of it was from Brandon Sorsby, the quarterback for Cincinnati. So the potential for QB run against this Nebraska defense is there. Why do I bring this up? Because last week, Sharon Moore is suspended for this game, but whoever is filling in for him, Biff, I can't remember his last name, Biff, what a great name, Back to the Future reference there. The assistant coach who was filling in for Sharon Moore said that they basically took the training wheels off of Bryce Underwood and allowed him to run last week. He ran 9 times for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. They had not been allowing him to run the ball like that yet this year. So the key offensively for Michigan here is leave the training wheels in Ann Arbor, allow Bryce Underwood to run the ball. That is going to open up passing game for him and make things way easier for him in another road game. If you want to keep Nebraska off balance, let Underwood run the ball the same way you did last week, obviously against higher, stiffer competition. But this has been a proven weakness for Nebraska already. QB run, use the run to set up the pass. That's what we said last week in the Notre Dame game, right, Drew? And for Nebraska's defense, be ready for a heavy dose of Justice Haynes and QB run from the freshman quarterback. If they don't come in prepared to respond to what they saw on film last week for Bryce Underwood, then they're setting themselves up for failure. Nebraska's offense versus Michigan's defense, Dylan Raiola has played really well this season. They've played 3 games. 2 of them were against weaker opponents, so I'm going to come back to that Cincinnati game. So they had 110 rushing yards against Cincinnati, which is not bad. Emmett Johnson had a decent game, but they need to stick with the running game to allow Raiola to do his thing. Raiola's put up big numbers this year, and, we poked a little fun at him about the Patrick Mahomes comparison, but his performance so far on the field this year has been undeniable. They need to keep an eye on the fact that Rod Moore, the All-Big Ten safety for Michigan, is supposed to be back this week. Asterisk, they said he was going to be back last week too, so we'll see what happens. But here's why I say they need to keep an eye on Rod Moore if he plays. Does he look good? Does he look ready to go? Does he look like he's back in all Big Ten form? Or does he look like he's going to knock some rust off and you take a shot at him here or there? So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as the game starts. The Michigan defense has been stout against the run so far, but they pretty much got toasted in the passing game against Oklahoma. So I really see the weakness in the Michigan defense thus far. You look at the Michigan defensive roster and look at the pre-conference, preseason all Big Ten selections. Rod Moore's the only defensive back I see there. He hasn't played yet. Now, you look at the defensive linemen and linebackers. I mean, running straight at Michigan the whole game was possibly like running into a brick wall. But they have seemed vulnerable in the passing game against Mateer. So I think that Nebraska has to be patient incorporating the run, no matter if they have success or not early, so that they keep Michigan's defense off balance and allow Raiola time in the pocket. It'll help with pass protection. I think that's a key for Nebraska. Keep Michigan defense off balance with run and pass and protect Raiola when you have an opportunity to take a deep shot. And then Michigan has to stuff the run so they have a chance to pin their ears back and go after Raiola as the game progresses. You don't want to play from behind on the road if you're Michigan with the freshman quarterback. Now, I'm looking for Underwood to continue developing. So we like Underwood, but you don't want to put all the pressure on your freshman quarterback. You want the rest of the team to play complementary football and make things as easy for him as possible. My bet in this game, Nebraska getting points at home. I'm taking plus 2.5 Nebraska. That's my pick of the week. Only because I trust Nebraska at home more than I trust Michigan on the road. And I'll bet you that the Cornhusker fans are going to be hyped. There's going to be a good atmosphere in Nebraska. I mean, they've sold out like 8 trillion games in a row. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's a hell of a lot of games. I got Nebraska plus 2.5 at home. Drew, what do you think?
Well, Nebraska's going to be sold out for sure. Nebraska does not have a professional football team. There's not a lot of professional sports out in Nebraska. It's going to be packed. Cornhuskers is going to be trying to do their best to have a great atmosphere, and I think they're going to do it. One of the things I do want to mention is that Bryce Underwood is averaging $1.2 million of touchdowns this season, as he has 2 touchdowns all season, as Nick was drinking water.
Drew, why are you doing this again? Why are you doing this to Bryce Underwood? I got caught I got caught with a stray last time. Drew went on an anti-Bryce Underwood rant on the old Twitters and the old TikToks. Why are you doing this to Bryce Underwood, Drew? You have to tell us. Tell America why you're doing this.
Listen, I'm the man of the people, all right? There's a lot of money going around, all right? And I don't want people being overpaid for stuff that they're not doing. Bryce Underwood, this is your game. You got to go in Nebraska. It's not going to be easy. Nebraska's 3-0. You already lost out on the road to Oklahoma. Nebraska used to be a Big 12. Maybe he can't beat former Big 12 teams. Who knows? Listen, this is where you look at Nebraska has a good defense, okay? Might not be great. It's a good defense. Will they keep Bryce Underwood at bay? Maybe, maybe not. They're going to run the ball. For whatever reason, they don't want him throwing the ball. They want to ease him into this game. Their head coach is suspended. He's not going to be there. This is a very confusing time for Michigan. They can't lose again. They're a bubble team. They have lots to prove. What's going to happen? Is Patrick Mahomes going to show up? Who knows? I'm sorry. Bubba Fett, Jango Fett. Who's going to show up for the quarterback? I will say this, though, folks. Not so fast. You guys should be pounding Nebraska's money line. You heard it here first. When the head coach is gone, they have a freshman quarterback making $3 million and averaging $1.2 million for freaking touchdowns on average passing. I'm betting Nebraska. Nebraska has a lot to prove. They're a bubble team. They're trying to get in here. Michigan, I'm sorry. Maybe you shouldn't be looking at other people's signs. Who knows? But I do not think this is where you want to be, guys. Nebraska, you're going to come out strong. Do not fail me now, boys. Hold the line. Hold the line. Hold the corn. Hold the corn husk. Chuck it to the blue.
I took Nebraska plus 2.5, and Drew said, hold my beer. I'm taking the money line. Respect, Coach Drew. There's a pick right there. Thank you, Coach Drew.
That's a lot. That was a lot.
Hey.
I hope for everybody watching at home, I hope that was enough energy.
You couldn't be more hyped about that pick.
So,
Unlike when I told you that we had to talk about Purdue Notre Dame and you almost crawled under your bed earlier because we collectively, but you more than me are licking our wounds over Notre Dame's second loss of the season. So
where we're going next.
Look, Purdue's going at Notre Dame this week, plus 25.5. Purdue fans were dying to renew this rivalry, air quotes, old school rivalry. And, I don't think the timing could have been much worse for Purdue. Now, I do respect the work that Barry Odom's put in at Purdue this year. They are much improved. But if I'm Marcus Freeman coming off an 0-2 start, I am going to run the score up to the freaking moon if I have a chance to deflect from all the negative energy in the locker room and all the negative attention around the program and the disappointing start from the fan base. And even if younger fans might not care if Notre Dame beats up on Purdue again, in some fashion similar to what they did last year, I'll tell you what, the older boosters that like to see these traditional rivalry games played, they will be off the athletic department. I've got Notre Dame minus 25.5 at home. Drew, do you think that maybe Purdue should just leave the big drum? They should just leave it at home, right? I mean, you ever overpack when you go on vacation and then you're pulling stuff out and you're like, oh, why did I bring this? I think that's how Purdue's going to feel if they bring that drum up there this weekend, because Marcus Freeman is fitting to open a can of whoop ass on them. That's what I see.
Yeah. I believe before they even go to South Bend, they should detour to Chicago and give it back to Chicago University as a historical thing. You know, just because Chicago gave up their football program that used to be a formerly known Big Ten school. Here we go. Here's your history facts for all your Big Ten history majors in here. All right. Chicago used to have the drum, and they gave it to Purdue after they gave up their football team. The Chicago Maroons are a football team. They are a D3 program now. And we did talk about this earlier, just on history facts. If Chicago did come back to play D1 football, I believe they are grandfathered and do have the right to join the Big Ten. That would be nuts. But enough about Chicago and the history of the Big Ten and having their rights. We're going to take away the right to Purdue even throwing the damn ball. Listen, Notre Dame, this is your time, okay? I'm going to be very positive about this. I was very negative in the pregame show. Now I'll bring out the positivity. Listen, Marcus Freeman's in the defensive room. He's making sure Ash is doing everything he needs to do. This is his first year. Yes, he did get the rut, playing two ranked teams, one away, one at home, right? And they pass it to a blocking tight end. What happens? Over, done with. You got to keep moving forward. If you're looking in the past, you're going to stay in the past. This is where Notre Dame goes to the future. They will definitely be getting people to pass block. or not block, but pass rush. They'll get that interior rush. They'll finally start producing some sacks. Their defense will get confidence, right? Purdue cannot run the ball. They're not a running team. They have to pass it. They're going to try to hit our weak coverages that we've shown so far. I use that in air quotes because we're going to clean it up. So hopefully we get some picks. And this is where we it's not only way from up from here. Okay, you're already 0-2. The AP agreed that you should still be ranked. It's only from up here. You have to go undefeated. You don't play conference. Go Irish, baby.
I'm going to say one more thing about that before we move on to Michigan State USC. If I'm Marcus, if I'm in his shoes, I think we're going to have the best week of practice this week that we've had in the regular season in my entire tenure to get back on track and get confidence going. I think the Irish come in over-prepared for an opponent that they're heavily favored against. Drew, you want to go Michigan State at USC?
Yeah, for everybody that's going to be staying up late like me and Coach Nick, hey, maybe we go TikTok live at 11. Everyone's going to be up anyways. 11 time Eastern, because Drew's not going to be at 10 p.m. Central. He's going to be he's going to be at 11 Eastern, where we're going to be watching the game where it's Michigan State plays USC in a Big Ten matchup. Go ahead, Nick. I know this is your team, Michigan State. You got the floor.
So Michigan State is a team that I really enjoy. I enjoy Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh. It's a team that has a fun offense to watch, a balanced offense. I always talk about the quarterback and the receiver, but they definitely are a team after my own heart in a Midwest style that do like to establish a running game and then set up the pass very effectively. Then has an athletic quarterback that can kind of do it all, create off the run throwing, using his legs, using his arm, using his legs to create time and space for him to thread it into the end zone to his good receivers. So this is an interesting game for me from the perspective of I look at the matchup and I go, what do these teams do well? What do they not do well? Or what do they want to be able to do better? What do I want to see out of these teams? Can USC play defense and tackle against a solid, legitimate, physical Big Ten team? I know they gave up 20 points to Georgia Southern last week or the week before. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Rob Ryan's the defensive coordinator there, part of, Buddy Ryan's son, an NFL legendary coaching family, but their tackling has been suspect and their defense against weaker competition really has not been overwhelming. I mean, we talked about somebody holding a Power 4 opponent to 8 rushing yards earlier. That's not the kind of defense that USC has been showing us. Not that you have to be that stout, but I think that USC has a chance to silence me and some doubters about how good their defense actually is. And Michigan State on defense has a chance to show that they can slow down USC's passing game because the Spartans' defense has not been great either. I do expect Michigan State to come out and run the ball and establish some offense. My question about Sparty as they head to Los Angeles is, are they going to be able to slow down Maeva in that passing game? And I honestly don't have an answer for it, but I'm here to see it. And if my old ass can stay up late enough, I'm going to find out live Saturday night or I'll find out Sunday. I think it could be a really interesting game, though. I think Michigan State has potential to make this take it down the stretch and hopefully pull an upset for the Midwest.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State, again, a program that's looking outside, as the outside, trying to look into this bigger picture. It was one of your sleeper agents at the beginning of the season. They're playing USC. USC's offense has been on fire. Their defense, now, I'll give credit where credit is due. Their defense is better. It's not the best. It's not where it needs to be, but there is a better positive there. I think Maliva to Lemons is going to be a huge connection that Michigan State has to look out for. I think Michigan State's just going to have to play with their head on fire. I think if there's a quarterback in the land that's going to do it, it's going to be Aiden Childs going on the road to USC because he's just a great character. He's going to do everything in his power. Even if USC spots them 14, right, because it's minus 17.5, Aiden's going to fight his way in there. If you guys are looking at home for a bet late at night and you're trying to make up your money, plus 17.5 Michigan State's what I'm cooking. How about you, Nick? Are you feeling that too as well?
I'd like to see the start of the game and then look for a live bet after it starts. But yeah, I think there's some potential there for some action. I just want to see the kickoff and see the first possession or two and see what's going on. And I like what you just said about Childs because I do think he has like the moxie and the confidence to spur a comeback on the road or like rally his team if they go into a difficult situation. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to with this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Michigan State is 3-0. So in reference, who knows? They're both undefeated.
Yeah.
So very
I think that the USC brand name right now and the fact that they've been scoring 1,000,000 points a game is really sexy to casual observers, and maybe bookmakers in Las Vegas set a line based on public expectations. But I think Michigan State, if they come in with the right game plan, has the potential to make this game really fun and really interesting.
well. I think that's a perfect transition because, as you say, teams that score 1,000,000 points and how certain people view them, maybe the AP,
Yeah.
Vegas. Well.
Drew's
I think
doing
we
it
all
to
know where
me
we're going here,
again. Drew's doing it to me again. The number 9 Illinois Fighting Illini have a chance for a second impressive road win to add to their college football playoff hopes, dreams, and resume as they visit the number 19 Indiana Hoosiers for a huge nationally televised game on primetime TV on NBC, a night game, a nationally televised game where Indiana has a chance to beat a ranked opponent and shake off some of the criticisms, because I think a lot of people with Indiana last year only watched them twice, and it was the 2 games they lost to the national champion and the national runner-up. And so there's a certain perception that sticks when your national TV games are the only games you lose. Illinois already has a good road win against Duke, which I kind of alluded to in my intro there. This is like really, they say styles make fights, and what that means in boxing is guys that have 2 different styles, but this is kind of a strength versus strength. Brett Bielema, one of my favorite Big Ten coaches, against Signetti, my favorite Big Ten coach right now, they both believe in establishing the run game and really trying to punch you in the mouth up front. And they're both the kind of coach, even if they don't have success in the run game early, they won't give up on it. They believe in that saying that me and Drew use, that establishing the run sometimes is like trying to break a giant rock with a sledgehammer. It might not break the first time, but it's going to break eventually if you keep hitting the damn thing. And that's how they believe in the run game. But on top of that, they both have talented quarterbacks. Altmaier, who is got to be, Drew, right or wrong, the most reliable commodity at quarterback in the Big Ten outside of what, Drew Aller?
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of our Heisman favorites to begin the season.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of our dark horse Heisman finalists. Okay, I mean, let's just compare Mendoza and Altmaier and get that out of the way real quick. They both have about 700 passing yards. Altmaier's got 8 touchdowns. Mendoza's got 9 touchdowns. Granted, Mendoza had, I think, 4 touchdowns against Indiana State the other day against weak competition. But Fernando Mendoza, transfer portal quarterback from Cal, he hit 19 out of 20 in the first half against Indiana State. And as you hear the cliche sometimes from former quarterbacks, it's hard to go 19 out of 20 on air in practice, let alone against the team. And I was watching some film from that here over the last couple of days. Some of those passes were threaded between 3 defenders into pretty tight spaces. So it's the kind of rhythm and the kind of accuracy that will translate against a better opponent. It's not as if he was just hitting guys wide open, running down the sideline with, a blind man covering him on crutches. I mean, these were legitimate throws, legitimate defensive reads. So at running back, we got Roman Hemby, the transfer from Maryland, who I think has an NFL body type, definitely NFL speed, along with Kalon Black, who was a James Madison transfer that came in with Signetti last year, who was part of a 3 running back rotation last year, but got injured. So kind of fell out of it as they headed into the college football playoff. They got a nice 1-2 punch there. Their other back that they got in the transfer portal, who was supposed to be their power back, had a season-ending knee injury last week against Indiana State. What a way for your year to end before Big Ten play even starts. My heart goes out to Lee Beebe Jr., but he'll have another year of eligibility. Hopefully he's a Hoosier again next year. But so you got 2 quarterbacks, one Mendoza being a big-time pro prospect, him being in his 3rd year, and then Altmaier, whose body of work really needs no introduction if you're a Big Ten football fan. Also, I got to shout out Fegan and Valentine at running back are both tough, but even more so, Hank Beatty has been an all-purpose monster. He's one of the nation's leaders in all-purpose yards at receiver. I think that this guy was underrated coming into the season because they list him at like 5'11", 185. So he doesn't have elite size or the profile like a Mel Kiper Jr. or somebody wants to see. This guy's a straight baller. He had a reverse or end-around touchdown run against Duke where usually on an end-around, the guy's just fast. He gets the edge, pop, goes north and south. He had to weave in and out and make a cutback. I mean, he had vision like a running back. So Hank Beaty's one of the best all-purpose backs in America for Illinois, one of my favorite players to watch. I just hate that he has to play against my Hoosiers this weekend. I think the key for the game right now, Indiana's offense against Illinois' defense, is can IU's offensive line keep the monster Gabe Hawkes out of the backfield? Gabe Hawkes so far this season has 3.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 tackles for loss. He's not necessarily a volume guy as far as tackles against the run game, but he's the monster that hides under your bed if you're an offensive coordinator. He can hurt you in the run game or the pass game. So they have to be accountable for him on every play, especially passing plays. And I'd be remiss not to mention the Illinois Fighting Illini secondary with Xavier Scott, Matt Bailey, and Torrey Cox. Ball hawks, proven playmakers. Bailey's one of the leading tacklers with 13 total tackles so far. Torrey Cox had one of the best interceptions of the year last year where he just absolutely stole it from a receiver that had it in 2 hands and he snatched it out with 1. I do want to say this about Illinois' defense. 4 forced fumbles versus Duke. 4. Sometimes they call it a forced fumble, but really the receiver just had butterfingers and dropped it and handed it to you. These were punch outs. These were Peanut Tillman punch outs. They were ripping it out with the claw. If you don't have good ball security, and this is one of my keys for the game for Indiana, you have to have ball security against Illinois or they're going to take the ball from you like your older cousin used to in backyard football. I don't know if anybody else has those memories, but I sure do. Indiana has to account for Hawkes, not let him hurt you behind the line of scrimmage, and they've got to take care of the football. I do have confidence that Indiana is going to be able to run the ball and have some proficiency in the pass game, but I think it's that big play potential that Illinois has that really scares me as an Indiana fan. As far as Illinois going against Indiana, I read in a forum earlier where an Illinois fan, I just want to remind you guys, an Illinois fan said that Hawkes was obviously the best defensive player in this game. I'm not sure this guy ever heard of the 3 All-Americans that Indiana has returning from last year. Mikael Kamara, the leading sack man in the Big Ten. D'Angelo Ponza, lockdown corner. And Aiden Fisher, who is the leading returning tackler in the Big Ten. This Indiana defense has some heavy hitters also. 1 All-American at each level of the defense and had in 2024 statistically the best rush defense in America. Now, the minus for Indiana that I want to point out, and this is one of the keys to watch, is that Indiana lost C.J. West the NFL draft, and he was their giant run-stuffing defensive tackle. So can the transfer portal additions, Tyreek Tucker and Hosea Wheeler, who were both all-conference guys at a group of 5 level, mid-major school transfers, who are big and athletic. One's definitely 300 pounds. The other one's 290 something. These guys are pretty stout and pretty athletic in the middle, but can they fill the shoes of one of the best run stuffers in America that Indiana lost in the NFL draft? The other thing I would say about Indiana's defense that's questionable, they gave up 2 long touchdown runs week 1 against Old Dominion, and they were both on zone read option type plays. Old Dominion's quarterback is faster than snot. I think I'm the only one that watched that entire game, but this guy was fast, but Indiana did not execute and fill assignments, and it cost them 150 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 plays. Indiana has to be more fundamentally sound against this Illinois offense. This is the fun one, or 2 fun ones, though, as far as matchups in this game. I'm looking forward. I think Indiana is going to put D'Angelo Pons on Hank Beatty. So this is a strength versus strength, ninja versus ninja type of matchup. I want to see this one-on-one between Beatty and Pons. I think it's going to be must-see TV. The other thing is Illinois has to account for Mikael Kamara, the returning Big Ten sack champion and preseason All-American. So the question for Illinois is, can offensive tackles J.C. Davis and Melvin Priestley block Kamara one-on-one? Or at least at certain times in the game blocking one-on-one? Because if I'm Indiana, I want to see Kamara get off early and force you to have to double team him, which is going to open things up for Aiden Fisher, who can come up as a rush in certain pass rush situations, and Hosea Wheeler and Tyreek Tucker, specifically Hosea Wheeler. He's like the dancing bear type. He's 300 pounds, but he's got nice feet. So if you've got to double team the guy on the end, you can't double team the guy in the middle anymore. So I think that Kamara versus J.C. Davis and Melvin Priestley, who are supposed to be NFL level tackles, they get a chance to prove it Saturday night. And those are the matchups that I really look forward to most in this ball game. What do you think, Coach Drew?
Well, as Bruce Buffer once said, it's time for the main events. I mean,
let's get ready to rumble.
How can you miss this if you are ESPN? You have a state line battle, Illinois versus Indiana. You are looking at College Game Day, and you went down to Florida to watch Anthony Richardson, DJ Legway, throw 5 interceptions against the University of Miami. Then you got my boy Nick over here stressing because you can't move up in the damn AP poll. They have to put 100 on the Children of the Blind. Iowa can't even move it. As you can see by it's the C-SPAN, just because Florida is playing the ACC, just give some respect to us. This is complete bullshit.
It's criminal.
It is what it is.
I wasn't going to say anything. It's criminal.
6:30 p.m. Bloomington, a great city with beautiful people, very great people. Some might say some of the best people in America are at Bloomington.
Oh, yeah.
Illinois has beautiful people, too. My family's from Illinois. They hate the SEC. Nick likes Indiana. There's a lot riding for me. I'm just watching it in the middle, hoping everybody wins. I'm that guy. I can't pick a winner. But I'll tell you this, ESPN. You're the frickin' loser. You know what? It's one of the top party schools, Indiana. And you know what? And somebody's going to say it. And I know you're out there, Mikey. Listen, I know you're there. Okay? Listen, I know Miami is respected. They're number 4. But didn't College Game Day already go there for the Notre Dame game?
I mean, if the CSPN bias could be more evident, I'm not sure how it could be, because I love Miami right now. Carson Beck was a dog against Notre Dame. I think he's having a great year. I think Miami's got exciting possibilities. Florida has looked like trash so far. Why is that the College Game Day game and not to be in beautiful Bloomington, Indiana on a beautiful fall afternoon, man? Especially after you said College Game Day was already in Miami this year. So they pretty much screwed the Big Ten by not making this the game of the week. And I'm not just saying that as an Indiana fan, but what other game looks better than this? Especially, like I said, 2 teams that are pretty evenly matched and have like similar styles. This is going to be like a heavyweight fight, and we're going to go down to watch Florida get their ass kicked by Miami. That's what you want to go promote? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand why. Okay, Hector, I get it. Florida has done some stuff. Week 1, they were at Texas. Okay, fair enough. They were at Texas for Ohio State. It's a stat correction. But still, Florida going to Miami?
I blame Drew. For that.
Yeah, I just stat correction right there. I had to remember.
Thanks,
but listen,
Hector.
All right, listen, Hector. You and your Florida team, well respected. We love your insight. But Florida versus Miami is thumbs down compared to Illinois versus Indiana. You know what? This is some gladiators. If you want to watch real football, some good football, you're watching the Midwest football. You listen to the Midwest Blitz, because that's what we do. We want you guys to enjoy Illinois, Indiana. It's going to be a great matchup. You have one team that's in the top 10 already, which is Illinois, trying to stay in top 10, trying to be in the college football playoffs, trying to do something.
And you have another team that's going to be in the top 10 moving forward, which is Indiana. We talked about Farmageddon. See what I did there? We talked about Farmageddon, and we talked about the Cy-Hawk Trophy being great Midwest rivalries, and Indiana-Illinois has not always been a great football rivalry, but this could be the start of making it one, with 2 coaches that seem to be at the height of their powers in a border state situation, like you said. And ESPN had a chance to highlight it, and they chose to completely ignore it.
Yeah, and what's funny is what's going to end up happening is we're going to be turning on ESPN or C-SPAN late at night. And you know what game they're going to be talking about?
Indiana and Illinois.
And you know what game they're not going to be talking about?
Florida and Miami.
Because Miami's about to put the belt to ass against Florida, okay? Like, Miami's nothing to play with. This isn't even coming from a Notre Dame perspective, okay? Yeah, they whooped our ass, but Miami is a good football program, okay? Florida, you haven't been anything since Mr. Myers left.
Ooh, brutal, Drew.
Well, that's, sometimes in the Midwest, we just got to be brutally honest.
That's the Chicago blood that Drew has running through his veins. That was kind of harsh.
That was
It's
O-Block.
almost like, do you guys know that Drew hates people from Kansas? And I don't know why, but Drew hates people from Kansas, and he has these outbursts like this. Drew's a really nice guy. Don't judge him by this encounter alone. But sometimes Drew has this venom that comes out for people from Kansas. But right now he's doing it for Florida Gator fans, and I just hope I can get him reeled in before we end the show.
Yeah, reeled in like some cooked gator.
True.
Yep, that's where I'm at with that statement.
You don't have
I'm
a
gonna be
pick
like
on this
LSU.
game?
I'm just gonna cook gator. Which one? Indiana, Illinois? This one's rough. This one's rough. It can go either way. That's what Drewski says. It can go either way. I'm referring to the TikTok superstar Drewski. So it can go either way. I want to go with the over. See what I did there? I love points. So if you like points, it's going to be a high-scoring game.
What is it? What is the over-under, Drew?
The over-under for this game is 52.5. I think they're going to have at least 40 by halftime.
Whoa. Not so fast,
Haymakers,
my friend.
Haymakers everywhere.
I think 52.5 that's tough. That's like pretty close to where I would have put it. I mean, these teams are capable of scoring more points, but I think the defenses are going to be really fundamentally sound in this game. I think it's going to be pretty close at halftime, and then maybe somebody pulls away in the end. I'm an Indiana fan, so I can't in good conscience tell you guys to bet on anybody. Of course, I'm tempted to bet my team. I just think this game is matchup that on paper is so even. It makes a really appealing appointment television type of game, especially when this week it's the best game of the week. It's Saturday night. Grab some beers, order out for some hot wings or pizza or whatever you want, and just take this one in. And I heard a podcaster I was listening to say these are two of the most entertaining coaches in the country. So you're going to get some sideline shenanigans out of Bielema. And then you're going to get Signetti over there with his glasses and his grouchy look. And he's going to be over there yelling whether they're up by 50 or down by 50. I mean, this is the type of stuff that makes college sports fun, these types of matchups between coaches that have big personalities.
You don't think they're going to run the ball 11 times in a row? Is that why you're thinking about the under? It's Indiana, Illinois, not Iowa. Just had to remind you.
Well, they
There's
run
too
the
many
ball.
eyes.
Typically in the Big Ten, we run the ball, but we also play defense. And I think there's going to be some solid defense in this game.
That's why I think there's going to be potential for some big boom plays.
Man, this is going to be so good. Oh, I got another stat. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but Illinois blitzes, they blitz against the pass at the highest clip in Power 4 football, about 60% right now. Indiana last year, Signetti's offense was fantastic against the blitz when Curtis Rourke was the quarterback. So Mendoza, according to Pro Football Focus, was the 19th ranked passer against the blitz in college football last year, and that was with a crummy offensive line at Cal. So I'm also interested to see how Illinois employs blitz and how Indiana responds to it. But I think that preparing for the blitz and having hot routes and checks is something that Signetti is really good at. And so, again, this is like a strength versus strength thing. Illinois is good at blitzing. Indiana is good at passing against the blitz. So we get to see this chess match and see who comes out on top. This game is just, I've been excited about it all summer, and I really hope it lives up to the hype.
Did you say we've been planning this all summer and we wanted to watch this game and we all want to be together as a Midwest Blitz family?
And somehow you and the Playmakers coaching staff will be at my house Saturday night for this game. It's going to be fun. Do not miss this game. If you love college football, this is going to be one to watch because, I mean, besides seeing the most talented teams, isn't it seeing two teams that are supposed to be evenly matched that have a lot riding? The winner of this game has the inside track for a potential fourth playoff spot in the college football playoff out of the Big Ten. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the Nebraska-Michigan winners there also, but both Nebraska and Michigan have more question marks, I think, than Indiana and Illinois, at least then the winner will. The loser of this game is going to be licking their wounds, but man, it's as high stakes poker for week 4.
It is. It very is. And what's good is as we continue, because now we're in week 4 and we're getting into week 5 and week 6 and week 7, we're going to see more and more Big Ten matchups, MAC matchups, and then that potential every once in a while Notre Dame big game. Because Notre Dame still has to play USC at home, where the Midwest Blitz will be there live.
Yes, we will.
Now, I did want to mention this. I failed Nick by not finding Lou Holtz last week. I was going through some photos on social media. Lou Holtz was there with the legendary pipe. He took a picture with a female on campus. She found him and was sitting by him because he was taking his, he's smoking his pipe. And it just reminds me, I do have that photo as well. When Sam Hartman and Estime was there and I was wearing my vote for them, like vote for Pedro shirt. I will say this, the Midwest Blitz is a great place. And if you like us, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and also write in the comments to let our boy from Valpo not let me coach the second game. And also to remind Nick to pick me up from Kokomo so we can make sure we're watching this game from start to finish.
Holy crap.
The last thing
You didn't tell me you were in Kokomo when you asked me to come pick you up. I might miss kickoff if I got to drive to Kokomo.
Well, allegedly, we're at Grand Park. Allegedly.
Oh, okay. I know how that works also. If you're from the Midwest, this makes a lot of sense, especially if you coach baseball or umpire. Yeah. How about a Midwest goodbye, Drew? I feel like this is a good start to a Midwest goodbye.
I think we're getting there.
So if you drive about a mile east from my house, I'm right by Butler's campus in Indianapolis and Meridian Hills. So you got about a mile east. You get on Meridian Street, you head north. It turns into State Road 31, which runs right by the world-famous Grand Park Sports Complex in Westfield, Indiana. But if you can continue to go north, there's a secondary Grand Park in a town called Kokomo. It's a manufacturing hub. It's a place we really appreciate here in the state of Indiana. Is this good for a Midwest goodbye? I'm going to keep going. So Drew's going to be Saturday night potentially 20 minutes north of me and wants me to come save him from his baseball coaching assignment, or he might be an hour north. And Drew, I love you, but I don't know if I love you enough to drive an hour. So we got to get this figured out.
Well, we can always just, I can always take the car and then I can just have him get dropped off by one of the players who are coming back to Indianapolis. Because remember, everybody buys their hotels by Grand Park. They don't buy their hotels by Kokomo.
If there were any hotels by Grand Park, I mean, there's a couple, but they're sold out 99% of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited for all this stuff. It's the Fall Classic for the bullpen, or one of them, super something, super select qualifier. There's a lot going on.
Don't give them any free advertising. You think they don't have enough money?
Well then I won't also mention the other stuff that if you didn't know about Grand Park already, I was gonna give you some other stuff. Nick is like, well, that's enough of that.
It's time to wrap up this Midwest goodbye.
Guys, listen. I'm telling you now, okay? I'm giving you some insiders, okay? While in the Midwest Blitz, I always look out for my boys, okay? You get your woman, and you take her to the apple orchard at 10 a.m., okay? And you get her all liquored up on some apple cider, and then you go out, you get a nice little dinner, you pick up the pumpkins, and your ass is on the couch by 5 p.m. All right, that's the play, on three, because you got to watch... Ready? Because that's how you're going to be watching this game. Do not get suckered in. It is September. It is Oktoberfest. We want you to watch this game because we're breaking it down and we want you to watch it here on the Midwest Blitz. And I think that's going to be me signing off there, Nick.
That's a heavy piece of strategery from Coach Drew. This is Big Nick from the Midwest Blitz. This has been another Midwest goodbye. It ain't the first and it won't be the last. Coach Drew, we'll see you. See you, boys.
See you later, guys.
Take it easy.